are looking at your partner and you were reminded by all the love that you've had for this person, and then you become sad because you realize that you haven't been you in a long time in this relationship, and you are wondering why, and then the sadness comes in and you try to ignore it. Well, today you are not going to ignore that. In fact, it is a very important message, and I am here to teach you what's going on and how to work through it. Because I am Dr. Sheena Glover, a couple psychologist who talks about all things relationship to include the roommate situation. So how do couples get into this thing called a roommate situation? Let's start with the fact that we're under the assumption that your relationship has generally been going the same trajectory, meaning both of you are aligned. Everything that you have ever discussed in your relationship has come to fruition. You have a beautiful job, you have beautiful children, and you guys are doing life together. And there isn't a betrayal. There is Saturday outings with the kids and taking them here, there, and everywhere. And you have family holidays. So everything on paper looks so good and so right. And yet, why does it feel off? And that is because life has swept both of you under, and the relationship that makes it intimate, makes it romantic, has probably been put to the wayside. Now, I see this with two kinds of couples. Oftentimes, I see couples who've been together for years, 10 plus years. They're used to the way that the relationship is ebbing and flowing, and they might be very heavily involved in their career. Or on the other camp is that there are kids that is outnumbering the two of you, and it is busy year round. There's no break. Or it could be a nice little blend of both. What gets couples really caught up in this is that it feels so good to have your teammate who you can constantly, pass the ball back and forth to, and who constantly has your back whenever you need it or whenever they need it, right? And in this spell, you would think that the teammate would just make all the romance, all the intimacy, come alive. But why doesn't it? Why doesn't the romance in the relationship come alive? And that is because there is no investment. If everything that you've ever learned about relationship is coming from a place of practice, like you have to practice communication, you have to practice vulnerability, you even have to practice asking for what you need sexually and then being able to learn how to give sexually. If everything is a practice, well, intimacy, connection, attunement is also practice. And you've spent all this time refereeing your children and shepherding your careers. And when you guys come to a space together to talk about yourselves, a lot of it probably involves updating the other person about what's going on. I even invite you to think about the last time you actually had a conversation about the two of you. Most couples might reserve reflection questions about their relationship, maybe on their anniversary, maybe not, maybe on Valentine's Day or something arbitrary. But if you kind of take the last conversation you had about your relationship, what curious questions did you ask your partner? What new thing did you learn about your partner internally, how they see the world, how they see themselves, how they see the relationship? Because if all you did was talk about your schedules, talk about the kids, talk about the next holiday and how to navigate that together, well, that doesn't necessarily create intimacy. Because you both are very busy beings, there are small moments that can be missed that induces and invites, and it just kind of splashes intimacy in the relationship. And that is bids for connection. Whenever you are noticing your partner smiling at something that tickles them when they're on their phone, or you see them sigh heavily, sometimes those are opportunities to connect. And sometimes a partner asking you, hey, let's watch this movie together, even though you are just exhausted from work, just exhausted from the kids, and all you want to do is decompress. Sometimes those bids for connection is what helps to keep it alive. And that is how we are going to kind of think about what it means to transform this wonderful teammate relationship that is absolutely working on all things roommate and move the romance back. So one of the first things that I highly recommend is that you go on a date. And I am talking about you better figure out every logistics that is possible so that you don't have anything interrupted, so that you can actually truly enjoy each other's company. But here's the caveat. You cannot talk about your kids. You cannot talk about your career, because a lot of the times, if you think about it, when you have noticed the staling of the romance and the intimacy in the relationship, you find yourself kind of going to your comfort conversation. It could be what the kids are into and what next activity that they're doing, or something at work, and the deadlines. And the reason being is like these kind of what I call nice little shelter conversation doesn't necessarily create the opening for you both to kind of go deeper, because they are shelter conversations. These are the conversations you've been having. And it's just going to feel like you're just, at a restaurant talking about the same old thing. So you have to change it up. And one of the best ways that you can change up the conversation is by getting different conversational kind of deck of cards that you can get on Amazon. Now, I don't have a specific recommendation, but I do have a shameless plug-in. It's called the Relationship Alignment Index. And this is a 80 question questionnaire that looks at where in your relationship you are aligned and misaligned as a couple, and it assesses both sides. And so at the end of this Relationship Alignment Index, you get to see 6 major domains of your relationship and how it's aligned and how it's misaligned. And take it a step further, this offers you 2 resources for the 2 lowest domains. So dare I say, you bring that worksheet into your next date, I'm telling you, you're going to have a very meaningful conversation that does not involve kind of the life messiness that comes with being a parent, being a hard worker, and so forth. So that is a tool for you to be able to start having the conversation. What if you get to that date and you try to ask some of these deeper questions, and you've gotten so used to just maybe giving surface level answers that you don't know what to say or how to say it or how to talk anymore? Well, first, both of you have to be able to name it. Name the fact that it feels really awkward. And it's kind of like, if you look at it and squint and tilt your head to the left, it kind of feels like maybe the first date where you're trying to figure it out. So the reason why I'm thinking of first dates is that you've been here before. You know what this looks like, and you knew then how to move the needle along. So even if you stumble, that does not mean that it's a bad thing or it's a bad sign. It's just that I forgot how to connect with you in a meaningful way. So maybe I can borrow my old mindset. What did I do to help me propel forward? And by the way, if you notice that you're feeling awkward, curiosity, man, dare I say it's the cure for a lot of stale conversation. Now, curiosity might not fix all that comes with a roommate situation, but it most certainly will help to advance the relationship in a way that is meaningful. And so being roommates sometimes can feel really complimentary, means that everything in the relationship is working really well. You started off as very flirtatious, sexual, loving, affectionate beings, and that is where it needs to stay. In addition to all of this, we cannot put the most important relationship to the back burner, because everybody else in the household feels it. Something gets missed when you and your partner are not exercising what brought you two together. So If you want to know more about that relationship alignment index, head on over to my website at intimacyinprogress.com. It's great spending time with you, and I will see you on the next one.